The ship jolted violently, alarms blaring as the lights flickered on and off. Shields at 30%, a voice shouted over the comms, panic seeping through. Commander Lyra gripped the console, her knuckles white, as the viewport revealed the monstrous silhouette of the entity pursuing them. Its form shifted endlessly, a writhing mass of darkness and jagged edges that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "We're not going to outrun it," she muttered, her voice barely audible over the chaos. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers now." The crew scrambled, but even as they moved, the air grew colder, heavier, as if the void itself was closing in. Lyra's breath fogged in front of her, and for a moment she thought she heard whispers, low, guttural sounds that didn't belong to any language she knew. "What the hell is that?" someone cried. She didn't answer. She couldn't, because deep down she already knew this wasn't just an enemy, it was something ancient, something that had been waiting for them. And now it had found them, the last survivors of Earth. As the crew of the spacecraft Elysium continues their desperate journey through the void, the weight of their mission becomes increasingly unbearable. Earth is gone, reduced to ash and debris, and with it, the lives of billions. They are the last remnants of humanity, carrying not just the hopes of their species but the crushing burden of survival. The ship's corridors, once bustling with activity, now echo with silence, broken only by the hum of engines and the occasional whisper of a prayer. But even in the vast emptiness of space, they are not alone. The strange phenomena begins subtly, a flicker of light in the distance, a sensor blip that disappears as suddenly as it appears. At first, the crew writes it off as the quirks of cosmic travel, but soon, the anomalies grow more frequent, more intense. Shadows seem to move on their own, and the ship's systems behave erratically, as if influenced by an unseen force. Then come the encounters. Alien entities, unlike anything they've ever imagined, emerge from the darkness. These beings are not just hostile, they are incomprehensible, their motives and nature shrouded in mystery. Each chapter of The Last Survivors of Earth plunges deeper into the unknown, weaving a tapestry of suspense and horror. The survivors face not only external threats, but also the unraveling of their own sanity. Isolation, fear, and the ever-present question of whether they are truly alone gnaw at their resolve. The story raises profound questions about the fragility of hope in the face of overwhelming despair. What happens when the last flicker of optimism is extinguished? How far will humanity go to survive when pushed to the brink? The narrative masterfully blends moments of quiet introspection with heart-pounding action. One moment, the crew debates the ethics of their mission, questioning whether they are preserving humanity or simply delaying its inevitable end. The next, they are thrust into a battle for their lives against an enemy they cannot fully understand. The audiobook's pacing keeps listeners on edge, never allowing them to settle into a sense of security. Just as one threat is overcome, another, more terrifying challenge emerges. What sets The Last Survivors of Earth apart is its exploration of existential dread. It's not just a story about survival, it's a meditation on the human condition. The characters are forced to confront their deepest fears, their regrets, and the unanswerable questions about life, death, and what lies beyond. The cosmos, vast and indifferent, becomes a mirror reflecting their own insignificance. Yet, even in the face of such despair, the story hints at the resilience of the human spirit, the stubborn refusal to surrender, no matter how hopeless the odds. As we delve deeper into the audiobook, the characters themselves become the heart of the narrative. Each survivor brings a unique perspective, shaped by their past and their struggle to find meaning in a universe that seems intent on their destruction. Their interactions, conflicts, and moments of solidarity add layers of complexity to the story, making it not just a tale of survival but a deeply human drama. Stay with us as we explore the individuals who make this harrowing journey unforgettable. At the heart of the last survivors of Earth are its protagonists, whose personal journeys and relationships form the emotional core of the story. Captain Elena Vance is a leader forged in the crucible of tragedy. Once a decorated officer, she now bears the scars of losing her family during Earth's final days. Her grief is a constant shadow, yet it fuels her determination to protect her crew. Elena's resourcefulness and unwavering resolve make her a pillar of strength, but her vulnerability humanizes her, reminding us that even the strongest among us are not invincible. Her leadership is tested at every turn, forcing her to make impossible decisions that weigh heavily on her conscience. Dr. Liam Carter stands in stark contrast, a man of science whose brilliance is matched only by his inner turmoil. Once hailed as a visionary, Liam now grapples with the moral implications of his past work, which may have inadvertently contributed to Earth's downfall. His intelligence is a double-edged sword, offering solutions to the crew's problems while also isolating him from those around him. The tension between his desire for redemption and his fear of failure creates a compelling internal conflict. His relationship with Alina is particularly fascinating. While they share a mutual respect, their differing worldviews often lead to clashes, adding layers of complexity to their dynamic. The supporting characters enrich the narrative, each bringing their own unique perspective and skills. Priya Singh, the ship's engineer, is a pragmatic problem solver with a sharp wit and a knack for keeping the Elysium running against all odds. Her backstory reveals a woman who fled a troubled past, finding solace in the precision of machinery and the camaraderie of her crew. Then there's Marcus Cole, a hardened soldier with a heart of gold. His military training makes him a formidable asset in the face of danger, but it's his loyalty and unwavering sense of duty that truly define him. Marcus's interactions with the others often provide moments of levity, a much-needed balance to the story's darker tones. Together, these characters form a microcosm of humanity, their individual struggles mirroring the broader themes of survival and resilience. Their choices, often fraught with moral ambiguity, shape the course of their journey. Do they prioritize the greater good, or does self-preservation take precedence? How do they navigate the thin line between hope and despair? These questions are not just central to the plot, but also serve as a reflection of the human condition, exploring what it means to endure in the face of unimaginable adversity. As we delve deeper into their stories, it becomes clear that the true antagonist is not just the alien entities stalking them, but also the weight of their own choices and the ghosts of their pasts. The horror lies not only in the external threats, but in the internal battles they must fight to survive. Their journey is a testament to the strength and fragility of the human spirit, a poignant reminder that even in the darkest of times, light can be found in the bonds we share. Now, as we turn our attention to the enigmatic forces that amplify the horror, we'll see how these characters' strengths and weaknesses are tested in ways they could never have imagined. What awaits them in the shadows of the cosmos is as much a challenge to their humanity as it is to their survival. The antagonists in The Last Survivors of Earth are more than mere monsters. They are manifestations of humanity's deepest fears, the unknown, the uncontrollable, and the inescapable. These alien entities are not bound by the laws of physics as we understand them. Their forms shift and twist, defying comprehension, and their very presence seems to warp reality around them. One moment, they might appear as shadowy figures lurking just beyond the edge of vision. The next, they could materialize as grotesque amalgamations of flesh and machinery, their movements erratic and unpredictable. This unpredictability is what makes them truly terrifying. They are not just physical threats, but existential ones, embodying the chaos of a universe that is indifferent to human survival. Their motives remain shrouded in mystery, and this ambiguity only heightens the sense of dread. Are they hunting the survivors for sustenance, or is their pursuit driven by something far more sinister? The narrative never provides clear answers, leaving both the characters and the audience to grapple with the unsettling possibility that these creatures operate on a level of intelligence and malice far beyond human understanding. This deliberate withholding of information taps into a primal fear, the fear of the incomprehensible. The environment itself plays a crucial role in amplifying the horror. Space, with its vast emptiness and inherent dangers, becomes a silent antagonist. The Elysium is not just a vessel, it is a fragile bubble of life adrift in an ocean of nothingness. The constant hum of the ship's engines, the sterile glow of its lights, and the endless expanse of stars outside the viewports create a claustrophobic atmosphere. The survivors are not just battling alien entities, they are struggling against the psychological toll of isolation, the unrelenting monotony of space travel, and the ever-present threat of mechanical failure. This combination of external and internal threats creates a sense of unrelenting dread that permeates every moment of the story. The alien entities are not the only danger. The very act of surviving in such a hostile environment pushes the characters to their limits. Sleep deprivation, paranoia, and the erosion of trust among the crew all contribute to a creeping sense of unease. The audiobook masterfully uses sound design to enhance this atmosphere, with subtle whispers, distant echoes, and sudden bursts of noise that keep listeners on edge. What makes these antagonists so compelling is how they reflect the characters' inner struggles. The alien entities are not just physical foes, they are mirrors of the survivors' own fears and insecurities. Elena's battle with grief, Liam's quest for redemption, Priya's search for belonging, all these personal conflicts are magnified by the presence of these creatures. The antagonists force the characters to confront their darkest selves, blurring the line between external and internal horror. This interplay of physical and psychological threats is what elevates the narrative beyond a simple survival story. It becomes a profound exploration of what it means to be human in the face of overwhelming adversity. The fear is not just of death, but of losing one's humanity in the process of surviving. As the story unfolds, the antagonists become a constant reminder of this tension, their presence a question that haunts both the characters and the audience. How far would you go to survive, and what would you become in the process? Now, as we shift our focus to the deeper themes that underpin this haunting tale, we'll see how these elements of horror are woven into a larger exploration of resilience, identity, and the enduring power of hope. Survival against insurmountable odds is a universal theme, one that resonates deeply in the last survivors of Earth. The story doesn't just focus on the physical struggle to stay alive, it delves into the psychological toll of isolation and the moral compromises that arise when every decision could mean life or death. The setting of deep space becomes a character in its own right, a vast, uncaring void that magnifies the fragility of human existence. Imagine being stranded millions of miles from Earth, surrounded by an endless expanse of darkness, with no hope of rescue or return. The Elysium, the survivors' last refuge, is both a sanctuary and a prison, its walls a constant reminder of their isolation. This isolation goes beyond the physical. It seeps into the minds of the characters, amplifying their fears and insecurities. Alina, the protagonist, grapples with the loss of her family, her grief compounded by the relentless silence of space. Liam, the ship's engineer, struggles with guilt over past failures, his mind a battlefield of self-doubt and regret. Priya, the scientist, searches for meaning in a world that seems to have abandoned all logic and reason. Each character is a microcosm of the human condition, their struggles mirroring the broader existential questions the story raises. What does it mean to survive? And at what cost? The fear of the unknown is another powerful theme. The alien entities that hunt the survivors are not just physical threats. They represent the incomprehensible, the forces beyond human control. The characters are forced to confront their own insignificance in the face of a universe that is at best indifferent and at worst hostile. This fear is compounded by the fact that the survivors have no way of knowing what these creatures want or how to defeat them. The lack of answers, the constant uncertainty, creates a pervasive sense of dread that permeates every moment of the story. Ethical dilemmas also play a crucial role. When resources are scarce and every decision could mean the difference between life and death, how do you choose who lives and who dies? The audiobook doesn't shy away from these difficult questions, forcing both the characters and the audience to confront uncomfortable truths about human nature. Would you sacrifice one life to save many? Could you live with the consequences of that decision? These dilemmas are not just theoretical, they are immediate and visceral, adding another layer of tension to the narrative. The setting of deep space amplifies these themes in profound ways. The infinite darkness, the silence, the distance from everything familiar, it all serves to heighten the sense of isolation and vulnerability. Space is not just a backdrop, it is an active participant in the story, shaping the characters' experiences and decisions in ways that would be impossible in any other setting. The Elysium itself becomes a metaphor for survival, its fragile systems a constant reminder of how precarious their existence truly is. What makes The Last Survivors of Earth so compelling is how it balances these themes with a deeply human story. It's not just about survival in the face of unimaginable odds, it's about what it means to remain human in the process. The characters' struggles, their fears, their choices, they all serve to illuminate the resilience of the human spirit, even in the darkest of times. As we explore the next layer of this narrative, we'll see how these themes of survival and isolation are further deepened by the characters' personal journeys, their relationships, and the choices they make in the face of overwhelming adversity. The vastness of space in The Last Survivors of Earth isn't just a setting, it's a relentless, almost sentient force that shapes every moment of the story. Its infinite darkness mirrors the despair and hopelessness gnawing at the survivors, a constant reminder of their vulnerability. The unpredictability of the cosmos adds another layer of tension, as every star system, every planet they encounter, could harbor untold dangers. This isn't the romanticized, awe-inspiring space of other sci-fi tales. It's a cold, indifferent void that amplifies the fragility of human existence. The cosmic setting doesn't just serve as a backdrop, it becomes a character in its own right, one that challenges the survivors at every turn. The isolation of space is perhaps its most defining feature. The Elysium, the survivor's ship, is a fragile bubble of life adrift in an endless sea of emptiness. The silence is deafening, broken only by the hum of the ship's systems and the occasional crackle of communication. This silence isn't just physical, it's psychological, a weight that presses down on the characters' minds. Alina often finds herself staring out at the stars, feeling both the beauty and the terror of their infinite distance. For Liam, the vastness is a reminder of how small and insignificant they are, a thought that haunts him as he struggles to keep the ship running. And for Priya, the cosmos is a puzzle, one that she desperately tries to solve in the hope of finding safety, or at the very least, understanding. The unpredictability of the environment adds to the tension. Every decision the characters make is fraught with risk. A jump to a new star system could lead to salvation, or it could bring them face to face with new horrors. The alien entities that stalk them are a constant reminder of how little they know about the universe. These creatures aren't just physical threats, they embody the chaos and unpredictability of space itself. The survivors are forced to navigate this uncertainty, their choices shaped by both hope and fear. For example, when they discover a seemingly habitable planet, the decision to land is not made lightly. The planet could offer resources or a temporary refuge, or it could be a trap waiting to ensnare them. This cosmic setting also serves as a metaphor for the characters' internal struggles. The darkness of space mirrors their own feelings of despair and isolation. The infinite expanse reflects their insignificance in the grand scheme of the universe, a theme that resonates deeply throughout the story. Yet, it's also a space for resilience and determination. Despite the overwhelming odds, the survivors continue to fight, to hope, to cling to the belief that they can overcome the darkness. As we shift our focus to technology, it's important to recognize how it interacts with this setting. The Elysium's advanced systems are both a lifeline and a point of vulnerability. They sustain the survivors, allowing them to navigate the cosmos and fend off threats, but they also represent how dependent they are on fragile, human-made constructs in an environment that is inherently hostile. Technology in this story isn't just a tool, it's a reflection of humanity's ingenuity and its limitations, a theme that we'll explore in greater depth next. Technology in The Last Survivors of Earth is a lifeline and a liability, a double-edged sword that both empowers and endangers the characters. The Elysium systems are marvels of human ingenuity, designed to sustain life in the harshest conditions of space. From life support to navigation, these technologies are the backbone of the survivors' journey, enabling them to traverse star systems and fend off threats. Yet, this reliance on machines also makes them vulnerable. The ship's AI, once a reliable partner, begins to malfunction, its decisions growing erratic and unpredictable. This isn't just a technical glitch, it's a reflection of the fragility of human-made systems in a universe that doesn't care about their survival. Take the navigation systems, for example. They are essential for plotting courses through uncharted space, avoiding black holes, and identifying potentially habitable planets. But when these systems fail, the survivors are left adrift, their fate hanging in the balance. One moment, they're on a clear path to safety. The next, they're hurtling toward an unknown star with no way to recalibrate. This unpredictability mirrors the broader theme of human limitations in the face of cosmic indifference. Even the most advanced technology can't eliminate risk, it can only mitigate it, and sometimes it introduces new dangers. The alien technology they encounter adds another layer of complexity. These artifacts are beyond human understanding, their mechanisms incomprehensible and their purposes inscrutable. When Priya, the team's engineer, attempts to decipher them, she's met with frustration and awe. These technologies are both tantalizing and terrifying, They could unlock the secrets of the universe or unleash unimaginable destruction. The survivors are forced to grapple with the ethical implications of using them. Do they risk harnessing alien tech for survival, even if it might lead to catastrophe? Or do they leave it untouched, preserving their integrity but potentially sealing their fate? This theme resonates deeply with our own relationship with technology. In our world, innovation has brought incredible advancements, from medical breakthroughs to space exploration. But it also raises questions about reliance, control, and unintended consequences. The story doesn't offer easy answers. Instead, it invites us to reflect on how we navigate these challenges in our own lives. The Elysium's AI serves as a particularly poignant example. Initially, it's a trusted ally, a voice of reason in the chaos of their journey, but as it begins to malfunction, it becomes a source of unease. Its decisions grow increasingly erratic, and the survivors are forced to question its motives. Is it truly malfunctioning, or is it adapting to a reality they can't comprehend? This ambiguity adds a layer of psychological tension, blurring the line between tool and threat. As the story unfolds, technology's role becomes increasingly complex. It's not just a tool, it's a reflection of humanity's ambition, ingenuity, and vulnerability. The survivors' struggles with their machines mirror their internal battles, highlighting the delicate balance between control and chaos. Now, turning our attention to the audiobook's narrative structure, we'll explore how these themes are woven into the storytelling itself, creating a pacing that keeps listeners on the edge of their seats. The narrative structure of The Last Survivors of Earth is a masterclass in tension building, weaving together a tapestry of episodes that escalate in intensity while maintaining a delicate balance between action and introspection. Each segment of the story is meticulously crafted to pull listeners deeper into the characters' plight, creating a sense of urgency that never lets up. The use of flashbacks is particularly effective, offering glimpses into the survivors' lives before the apocalypse. These moments aren't just filler, they're essential to understanding what drives each character, grounding their actions in a rich emotional context. Take Captain Elias, for instance. His flashbacks reveal a man haunted by the loss of his family, a tragedy that shapes his leadership style and fuels his determination to protect the remaining crew. These glimpses into his past make his decisions in the present all the more poignant, adding layers of complexity to his character. Similarly, Priya's flashbacks explore her struggles as a pioneer in engineering, shedding light on her resilience and ingenuity. These personal histories make the stakes feel real, transforming the story from a simple survival tale into a deeply human drama. The pacing is another key element that keeps listeners hooked. Action sequences are explosive and heart-pounding, but they are balanced by moments of quiet tension that allow the audience to catch their breath. This ebb and flow of intensity creates a rhythm that mirrors the unpredictability of space itself. One moment, the crew is navigating a treacherous asteroid field. The next, they're grappling with the weight of their isolation. These quieter moments aren't just pauses, they're opportunities for character development and world building, making the action sequences even more impactful. Sound plays a crucial role in enhancing this structure. The audiobook's sound design heightens the atmosphere, using subtle cues to signal shifts in tone and mood. The hum of the ship's engines, the crackle of static over the comms, and the eerie silence of the void all contribute to the immersive experience. These auditory details are carefully calibrated to maintain tension, ensuring that listeners are constantly on edge. Now, let's dive into the role of sound design itself. Beyond its atmospheric contributions, sound is used to underscore key moments in the narrative. For example, during a pivotal scene where the crew discovers an alien artifact, the soundscape shifts dramatically. The usual background noise of the ship fades into silence, replaced by an otherworldly hum that grows louder as they approach the object. This auditory cue signals the significance of the moment, heightening the sense of mystery and danger. By intertwining narrative structure, pacing, and sound design, The Last Survivors of Earth creates an experience that's both gripping and immersive. It's a testament to the power of storytelling, where every element works in harmony to keep listeners engaged and invested in the outcome. The power of sound design in The Last Survivors of Earth is nothing short of transformative. It's not just an enhancement, it's a driving force that pulls listeners into the heart of the narrative. Every sound, from the subtle hum of the ship's engines to the spine-chilling whispers echoing through the void, is meticulously crafted to evoke emotion and build tension. These auditory elements do more than set the scene, they make the horror tangible, turning the unknown into something you can almost touch. Consider the silence of space, a concept that's almost paradoxical in its execution. While space itself is devoid of sound, the audiobook uses this absence masterfully. When the crew ventures outside the ship, the sudden drop into silence is jarring, creating an almost physical weight. This quiet is punctuated by the faintest of sounds, a breath inside a helmet, the distant ping of debris making every noise feel amplified and significant. It's a technique that underscores the isolation and vulnerability of the characters, immersing listeners in their precarious reality. Equally impactful are the more overt sound effects. The creak of the ship's aging hull, the sharp hiss of escaping air, and the ominous thud of something moving in the shadows all serve to heighten the tension. These sounds are not just random, they're carefully timed to coincide with key moments in the story, amplifying the emotional stakes. For instance, when the crew discovers the alien artifact, the soundscape shifts dramatically. The familiar hum of the ship gives way to an eerie, pulsating tone that grows louder as they approach. This auditory cue signals the significance of the moment, drawing listeners deeper into the mystery and danger. Atmospheric music also plays a pivotal role. The score is subtle yet evocative, often blending seamlessly with the sound effects to create a cohesive audio experience. During moments of high tension, the music swells, adding an extra layer of urgency. In quieter, introspective scenes, it recedes into the background, allowing the characters' emotions to take center stage. This interplay between sound and silence, music and effects, creates a dynamic listening experience that keeps audiences on the edge of their seats. But sound design in this audiobook isn't just about creating scares, it's about enhancing the emotional depth of the story. The mournful strains of a violin during a flashback to Earth's final days evoke a sense of loss and longing. The rhythmic clang of tools as the crew repairs the ship underscores their determination and resilience. These auditory details add texture to the narrative, making it richer and more immersive. Ultimately, the sound design in The Last Survivors of Earth is a testament to the power of audio storytelling. It's a reminder that horror isn't just about what you see, it's about what you hear, what you feel, and what your imagination conjures in the absence of visual cues. By leveraging sound to its fullest potential, this audiobook creates an experience that's as visceral as it is unforgettable. Now, let's explore the cultural and societal relevance of this story and how it reflects the anxieties and hopes of our own world. The Last Survivors of Earth isn't just a tale of cosmic horror, It's a mirror held up to the fears and uncertainties of our own time. At its core, the story grapples with themes that feel startlingly relevant: environmental collapse, technological dependence, and the fragility of human existence. These aren't just speculative ideas, they're reflections of the anxieties that permeate our modern world, making the narrative as thought-provoking as it is chilling. Take the theme of environmental collapse, for instance, the story's portrayal of Earth's demise. A planet rendered uninhabitable by humanity's own actions strikes a haunting chord. It's a cautionary tale that echoes contemporary concerns about climate change, deforestation, and the depletion of natural resources. The crew's struggle to survive in the void of space serves as a metaphor for our own precarious relationship with the environment. It forces us to confront the question, what happens when we push our planet beyond its limits? The audiobook doesn't provide easy answers, but it compels listeners to consider the consequences of our collective choices. Equally compelling is the exploration of technological dependence. The characters rely on their ship's systems to sustain them, yet these very systems become sources of vulnerability. A single malfunction or hack could spell disaster, highlighting the double-edged nature of our reliance on technology. This theme resonates deeply in a world where we're increasingly dependent on digital systems for everything from communication to infrastructure. The story asks us to weigh the benefits of technological advancement against the risks it poses, particularly in crises where human ingenuity may not be enough to save us. Existential threats form another cornerstone of the narrative. The crew's encounters with the unknown, whether it's the alien artifact or the lurking dangers of deep space, serve as metaphors for the uncertainties we face as a species. From pandemics to geopolitical tensions, our world is no stranger to existential risks. The story's depiction of survival in the face of such threats raises profound ethical questions. What are we willing to sacrifice to ensure our survival? Who gets left behind when resources are scarce? These are not just hypothetical dilemmas, they're questions that could one day define our reality. What makes The Last Survivors of Earth particularly impactful is its ability to weave these themes into a cohesive narrative that feels both personal and universal. The characters' struggles are not just about survival, they are about identity, morality, and the essence of what it means to be human. In a world where the future often feels uncertain, the story offers a space to explore these themes in a way that's both speculative and deeply reflective. By inviting listeners to confront these questions, the audiobook does more than entertain, it challenges us to think critically about the path we're on and the choices we're making. It's a reminder that the stories we tell about the future are, at their heart, stories about the present. And in that sense, The Last Survivors of Earth is as much a commentary on our times as it is a work of science fiction. At its heart, The Last Survivors of Earth is more than a survival story. It's a philosophical exploration of what it means to be human in the face of annihilation. The narrative forces its characters, and by extension its listeners, to grapple with profound questions that have no easy answers. What defines humanity when stripped of its comforts and confronted with extinction? Is it our ability to reason, our capacity for empathy, or our instinct to survive at all costs? These questions are woven into the fabric of the story, challenging us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves and the world we inhabit. One of the most striking philosophical dilemmas in the narrative is the exploration of morality in extreme circumstances. When resources are scarce and survival is uncertain, how do we determine right from wrong? The characters are repeatedly forced to make choices that test their ethical boundaries, from sacrificing one life to save many to deciding who is deemed worthy of limited resources. These moments are not just plot devices, they are mirrors reflecting the moral complexities of our own world. They ask us to consider how we might act in similar situations and whether our current moral frameworks would hold up under such pressure. Another central theme is the search for meaning in a seemingly indifferent universe. The crew's journey is not just a physical one, but a psychological and existential odyssey. As they drift further from Earth, they're confronted with the vastness of space and their own insignificance within it. This raises questions about the purpose of existence. Are we merely cosmic accidents, or is there a greater meaning to our lives? The story doesn't provide definitive answers, but it encourages listeners to reflect on their own beliefs and values in the face of such uncertainty. The narrative also challenges the notion of identity and what it means to be human. As the characters adapt to their harsh new reality, they're forced to redefine themselves. Some cling to their humanity through acts of kindness and solidarity, while others succumb to desperation and betrayal. This duality forces us to consider the essence of our own humanity and the factors that shape our identity. Are we defined by our choices, our relationships, or something more intangible? These questions linger long after the story ends, prompting deep reflection on our own lives and the society we've built. Fear plays a pivotal role in shaping these philosophical explorations. It's not just a plot device, but a catalyst for introspection. The fear of the unknown, the fear of death, and the fear of losing one's humanity all drive the characters to confront their deepest insecurities and beliefs. This fear is relatable, grounding the story's existential themes in a way that feels immediate and personal. It's a reminder that, like the characters, we too are shaped by our fears, and it's through confronting them that we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. Ultimately, The Last Survivors of Earth is a story that refuses to offer easy answers. Instead, it invites listeners to wrestle with the same profound questions that its characters face. It's a narrative that challenges us to look inward, to examine our values, and to consider what it truly means to be human in a world that often feels fragile and uncertain. By doing so, it transcends its genre, becoming not just a tale of survival, but a meditation on the human condition. Fear is the invisible thread that weaves through every moment of the last survivors of Earth, shaping decisions, relationships, and the very essence of the narrative. It's not the kind of fear that's easily shrugged off. It's primal, all-consuming, and deeply personal. The characters aren't just afraid of dying, they're terrified of what comes after. The unknown looms larger than any immediate threat, a vast, impenetrable void that challenges their understanding of reality. This fear of the unknown is perhaps the most paralyzing, as it strips away their sense of control and forces them to confront their deepest insecurities. Take, for example, the early moments of the story when the crew first realizes the extent of Earth's destruction. Their initial reactions are not just shock or grief, but a visceral fear of what lies ahead. Without a home to return to, they're adrift in a universe that feels indifferent to their existence. This fear manifests in different ways. Some characters become hyper-focused on survival at all costs, while others retreat into denial, clinging to the fragments of their former lives. These divergent responses reveal the complex ways fear can shape human behavior, pushing individuals to extremes they might never have considered under different circumstances. But fear doesn't just influence individual actions, it also redefines relationships. In a world where trust is scarce and every decision could mean life or death, alliances are fragile and often fraught with tension. The audiobook masterfully captures this dynamic, showing how fear can erode bonds of friendship and family. One character's desperate attempt to hoard resources leads to betrayal, while another's paranoia isolates them from the group. These moments are a stark reminder of how fear can distort our sense of morality, making self-preservation seem like the only logical choice. Yet, the story doesn't stop at exploring fear's destructive power. It also delves into its ability to reveal hidden strengths and vulnerabilities. In one particularly poignant scene, a character who has always been seen as weak steps up to protect another, driven not by courage but by the fear of losing someone they care about. This moment underscores the duality of fear. It can break us, but it can also push us to rise above our limitations. As the narrative progresses, the fear of losing one's identity becomes another central theme. The survivors are not just fighting for their lives, they're fighting to hold onto who they are. This fear is especially evident in the character who begins to question their own humanity after making a morally compromising decision. Their internal struggle is a microcosm of the larger existential questions the story raises. What does it mean to be human when everything we once knew is gone? Fear, in this context, becomes a lens through which the characters, and by extension, the audience examine their own values and beliefs. But fear isn't the only force at play. As we'll explore next, hope emerges as a counterbalance, offering a glimmer of light in the darkness. While fear drives the characters to confront their worst instincts, hope reminds them of what they're fighting for. It's this interplay between fear and hope that gives the story its emotional depth, making it not just a tale of survival, but a profound exploration of the human spirit. Amidst the crushing weight of despair, a fragile yet unyielding flicker of hope emerges, illuminating the darkest corners of the last survivors of Earth. This hope isn't naive or unfounded. It's a quiet, stubborn force that refuses to be extinguished, even when survival seems impossible. It's the kind of hope that whispers in the back of their minds, reminding them that there's still something worth fighting for. But as the story unfolds, it becomes clear that hope is as much a burden as it is a lifeline. The narrative masterfully explores how hope evolves over time, shifting from a collective dream of returning to Earth to a more personal, fragile belief in the possibility of a new beginning. Early on, hope is a shared sentiment among the survivors, a unifying force that binds them together. They cling to the idea that somewhere, somehow, Earth might still exist, or that they'll find a place to call home again. This collective hope is what keeps them moving forward, fueling their determination to repair their ship, gather resources, and navigate the treacherous void of space. But as the harsh realities of their situation set in, hope begins to fracture. The discovery of Earth's total destruction shatters the illusion of a return, leaving the survivors adrift in more ways than one. Some characters cling desperately to the remnants of their hope, while others abandon it entirely, consumed by bitterness and resignation. This divergence creates a poignant tension within the group, as their differing levels of optimism and despair drive them further apart. One of the most compelling aspects of the story is how it portrays hope as a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's what keeps the characters from succumbing to despair, motivating them to take risks and make sacrifices they might otherwise avoid. On the other hand, it's a source of vulnerability, leaving them open to disappointment and heartbreak. The audiobook captures this duality with remarkable nuance, showing how hope can both uplift and torment. Take, for instance, the character who spends weeks scavenging for parts to repair a broken communication device. convinced they'll make contact with another colony. When their efforts fail, the weight of that shattered hope is palpable, a devastating reminder of the fragility of their dreams. Yet, even in the face of such crushing disappointment, hope finds a way to endure, albeit in a different form. Instead of dreaming of rescue, they begin to focus on smaller, more immediate goals, like protecting each other or finding moments of beauty in the void. This evolution of hope is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It's not just about grand aspirations or distant dreams, it's about finding meaning in the present, no matter how bleak the circumstances. The audiobook's exploration of this theme adds a layer of emotional complexity to the story, making it more than just a tale of survival. It's a meditation on what it means to hold onto hope when everything else is stripped away. Yet, the story doesn't shy away from questioning the sustainability of hope. As the characters face one devastating setback after another, their belief in a better future is constantly tested. Some begin to wonder if hope is a luxury they can no longer afford, or if it's simply a way of delaying the inevitable. This internal conflict is especially evident in the character who, after losing a loved one, struggles to find a reason to keep going. Their journey is a raw and deeply human exploration of the limits of hope, and whether it's enough to sustain them in the face of relentless despair. It's this tension between hope and despair that gives the story its emotional depth, making it not just a narrative about survival, but a profound exploration of the human condition. As we'll see next, this interplay is further complicated by the audiobook's portrayal of leadership and morality, where the lines between right and wrong blur in the struggle to survive. These themes intertwine, creating a rich tapestry of conflict, resilience, and the enduring power of the human spirit. As the survivors drift further into the unknown, the burden of leadership weighs heavily on Captain Elena Vance, shaping not only her actions but the very fabric of their journey. Her role as the group's leader is less about authority and more about survival, a constant balancing act between making decisions that save lives and those that haunt her conscience. The story doesn't portray her as a flawless hero. Instead, it paints her as a deeply human figure, grappling with impossible choices in the face of overwhelming odds. One of the most striking aspects of Captain Vance's leadership is her willingness to make morally ambiguous decisions. Early in the story, she faces a critical choice: ration their dwindling supplies to ensure the group's survival, even if it means some will go hungry, or distribute resources equally, risking the entire crew's future. Her decision to ration sparks tension and resentment, forcing her to confront the ethical implications of prioritizing the many over the few. This moment serves as a microcosm for the larger moral questions at the heart of the story. What does it mean to lead when there are no good options? How far is too far when survival is at stake? Vance's leadership is further tested when she must decide whether to trust an alien entity that offers assistance in exchange for a dangerous trade. The entity's motives are unclear, and accepting its help could risk the lives of everyone on board, yet refusing it might doom them to a slow, inevitable demise. Her choice to cautiously engage with the entity reflects her ability to adapt and weigh risks against potential rewards, but it also raises haunting questions about the limits of trust and the cost of survival. What makes Vance's character so compelling is her internal struggle. She's not immune to doubt or guilt. In fact, her moments of vulnerability are what make her decisions all the more impactful. The audiobook delves into her inner monologue, revealing the emotional toll of her choices. When she sacrifices a damaged section of the ship, and the personal belongings within it. To conserve energy, she's forced to confront the loss of memories and connections that once tethered the group to their humanity. These moments underscore the profound loneliness of leadership, a theme that resonates throughout the narrative. The story also examines how Vance's leadership affects the group dynamic. Her decisions inevitably create factions among the survivors, with some viewing her as a pragmatist and others as a cold-hearted pragmatist. This tension adds depth to the narrative, highlighting the complex interplay between authority and morality. The group's reactions to her choices serve as a mirror, reflecting their own fears, values, and desperation. Through Vance's journey, the story raises broader ethical questions about the nature of leadership in extreme circumstances. Is it better to lead with compassion, even if it risks failure, or to make ruthless decisions that ensure survival? Where does one draw the line between pragmatism and morality? These questions linger, inviting listeners to reflect on their own beliefs and how they might act in similar situations. As the narrative shifts its focus, it's important to consider how science intertwines with these themes of leadership and morality. Science isn't just a tool for survival in this story. It's a driving force that shapes the characters' decisions and the world they inhabit. From the technological marvels that keep their ship afloat to the ethical dilemmas posed by their discoveries, science becomes a central thread in the tapestry of their journey. The role of science in the story is not just about innovation or problem solving. It's about the human ingenuity and resilience that allow the survivors to push the boundaries of what's possible. Whether it's repairing a failing engine or deciphering alien technology, their scientific endeavors are as much about hope as they are about necessity. This interplay between science and survival adds a rich layer of complexity to the narrative, offering a glimpse into how humanity's greatest strengths can also reveal its deepest vulnerabilities. As we explore the role of science, it's clear that it's not just a backdrop for the story, but a vital component of its themes and character development. It's through their scientific efforts that the survivors confront new challenges, forge unexpected alliances, and grapple with the ethical implications of their discoveries. This intersection of science, leadership, and morality is what makes The Last Survivors of Earth a thought-provoking and deeply engaging tale. Dr. Liam Carter's relentless pursuit of scientific discovery becomes a double-edged sword in The Last Survivors of Earth, embodying both humanity's greatest potential and its most profound vulnerabilities. His experiments, driven by a desire to secure the group's survival, often tread the fine line between innovation and recklessness. For instance, when he devises a method to harness energy from a nearby nebula, it initially offers a lifeline, replenishing the ship's dwindling power reserves. However, this breakthrough comes at a cost. The process destabilizes the nebula, triggering a chain reaction that nearly destroys their vessel. This sequence highlights the inherent risks of pushing scientific boundaries, where even the most well-intentioned advancements can lead to catastrophic outcomes. The story doesn't shy away from portraying science as a source of danger alongside its promise. Carter's experiments frequently uncover phenomena that defy human understanding, from sentient alien technologies to incomprehensible cosmic forces. These discoveries, while awe-inspiring, often carry unintended consequences. One particularly harrowing example occurs when Carter attempts to decode an alien artifact, hoping it might contain vital knowledge or resources. Instead, the artifact activates, unleashing a series of hallucinations that plague the crew, forcing them to confront their deepest fears and insecurities. This incident serves as a stark reminder of the limits of human knowledge, a cautionary tale about the hubris of assuming we can control forces beyond our comprehension. What makes Carter's character so compelling is his internal conflict. He's driven by an unshakable belief in the power of science to solve problems, yet he's also haunted by the collateral damage of his actions. His journey becomes a microcosm of the broader ethical questions at play. How far should we go in the pursuit of knowledge? When does curiosity become recklessness? These questions aren't just academic, they're woven into the fabric of the narrative, inviting listeners to grapple with the moral implications of scientific exploration. The audiobook also uses Carter's story to explore the tension between individual ambition and collective responsibility. While his experiments often yield groundbreaking results, they frequently place the entire group in jeopardy. This dynamic creates friction within the crew, with some viewing Carter as a visionary and others as a liability. These conflicts add layers of complexity to the narrative, illustrating how the pursuit of progress can both unite and divide. As the story progresses, Carter's character arc serves as a powerful commentary on the dual nature of science. It's not just a tool for survival, it's a mirror reflecting humanity's hopes, fears, and limitations. The audiobook masterfully balances the awe of discovery with the chilling reality of its consequences, leaving listeners to ponder the ethical dilemmas that arise when we push the boundaries of what's possible. Moving forward, the narrative shifts its focus to the concept of identity, exploring how the survivors grapple with questions of who they are in the face of unimaginable challenges. This shift offers a poignant reflection on the human condition, delving into the ways adversity shapes and reshapes our sense of self. As The Last Survivors of Earth unfolds, the characters are thrust into a crucible of existential crisis, where the very essence of who they are is called into question. The looming threat of extinction forces them to confront their mortality in ways they never imagined, stripping away the familiar markers of identity and leaving them to grapple with what it truly means to be human. In this extreme environment, the survivor's sense of self becomes both fragile and resilient, shaped and reshaped by the relentless pressures of their circumstances. Take, for example, Captain Elena Vance, whose identity as a leader is continually tested. On Earth, she was a respected commander, her role defined by authority and responsibility. But in the vast emptiness of space, where survival hinges on more than just orders, she finds herself questioning the foundation of her leadership. Does she lead out of duty, or is it an intrinsic part of who she is? These questions come to a head during a critical moment when the crew must decide whether to risk a dangerous detour to search for supplies. Ray's decision to prioritize the group's safety over potential resources reveals a deeper layer of her identity, one rooted in compassion rather than command. For others, like engineer Priya Kapoor, the crisis becomes a catalyst for self-discovery. Back on Earth, Priya's identity was tied to her technical expertise and her role as a problem solver. But in the face of relentless challenges, she begins to unearth facets of herself she never acknowledged. When the ship's systems fail, leaving the crew in darkness, Priya doesn't just repair the damage. She improvises a solution using alien technology, showcasing a creativity and adaptability she didn't know she possessed. This moment becomes a turning point for her, as she realizes that her identity isn't fixed, it's fluid, capable of evolving in response to the world around her. The story also explores the collective identity of the group. How do individuals retain their humanity when the world they once knew is gone? The survivors' interactions reveal both the fragility and resilience of human connection. In one poignant scene, the crew gathers to share memories of Earth, each story a thread weaving them together in a tapestry of shared loss and hope. These moments of vulnerability become a lifeline, a reminder that identity isn't just an individual construct, it's shaped by the bonds we form with others. Yet, the narrative doesn't shy away from the darker aspects of identity in crisis. Fear and desperation test the group's cohesion, sometimes fracturing their unity. When rations run low, tensions flare, and the survivors are forced to confront the harsh reality of their situation. These moments of conflict reveal the complexities of identity, showing how survival instincts can clash with moral principles, leaving individuals torn between who they are and who they need to become. Ultimately, The Last Survivors of Earth presents a nuanced exploration of identity in the face of extinction. It asks profound questions about what it means to be human, questions that resonate far beyond the confines of the story. As the survivors navigate their new reality, they discover that identity isn't static. It's a dynamic, ever-evolving process shaped by the challenges we face and the choices we make. Shifting focus, the narrative delves into the role of relationships in this high-stakes environment. How do bonds of trust and affection hold up under the weight of constant danger? The survivors' interactions become a lens through which the story examines the enduring power of connection, even in the most dire circumstances. In the harrowing world of The Last Survivors of Earth, relationships become both a lifeline and a source of tension. As the characters grapple with the horrors surrounding them, the bonds they share are pushed to their limits, revealing the complexities of human connection under unimaginable stress. Friendships, romances, and rivalries intertwine, shaping the journey in ways that are as profound as they are unpredictable. These relationships serve as a stark reminder of our innate need for connection, even when the world as we know it is crumbling. Take, for instance, the evolving dynamic between Marcus and Layla. Once colleagues with a professional rapport, their relationship deepens into something more intimate as they face the void together. Their romance is born not out of convenience, but out of a shared vulnerability and the need for solace in a world that feels increasingly alien. However, this bond is not without its challenges. When Marcus makes a decision to prioritize the survival of the group over Layla's personal safety, their relationship is tested in ways neither of them could have anticipated. Their struggle to reconcile love with the harsh realities of their situation highlights the fragility of human connection when survival is at stake. Friendships, too, are forged and fractured under pressure. The camaraderie between Priya and Aaron, once grounded in mutual respect and trust, begins to fray as resources dwindle and the weight of their predicament grows heavier. A disagreement over how to allocate their dwindling supplies leads to a confrontation that forces both to confront their own fears and insecurities. Yet, it is through this conflict that their friendship evolves, becoming more resilient as they learn to navigate their differences. Rivalries, on the other hand, take on a more destructive edge. The simmering tension between Alina and Victor, driven by their contrasting leadership styles, threatens to destabilize the group at critical moments. Their clashes are not just about strategy, but about deeply held beliefs about what it means to lead and protect others. These rivalries, while fraught with conflict, also serve as a mirror, reflecting the characters' deepest fears and desires. Amidst the chaos, moments of connection shine through, offering glimpses of hope and humanity. The survivors gather to share stories of Earth, their voices weaving a tapestry of memories that binds them together. These moments of vulnerability become a testament to the enduring power of relationships, reminding them, and us that even in the darkest times, connection is what makes us human. As the narrative shifts, the audiobook's exploration of time and memory takes center stage, delving into how the survivors grapple with the past and the uncertain future that lies ahead. Time and memory weave through the last survivors of Earth like threads of light in the darkness, illuminating the characters' pasts while shaping their present choices. Flashbacks and fragmented memories serve as windows into their lives before the catastrophe, offering glimpses of the people they once were and the events that led them to this dire moment. These moments of reflection aren't just narrative devices, they're essential to understanding the characters' motivations and the emotional weight they carry. Take Marcus, for example. A flashback reveals his life as a father, his hands steady as he taught his young daughter to build a model rocket. This memory, bittersweet and vivid, resurfaces as he's forced to make a life or death decision for the group. The weight of his past influences his present, driving him to protect others even at great personal cost. It's a poignant reminder of how our histories shape who we are, even when the world around us has been irrevocably changed. Priya's memories, on the other hand, are tinged with regret. A fragmented recollection of a heated argument with her brother, the last words she ever spoke to him, haunts her as she navigates the group's survival. This unresolved guilt fuels her determination to keep everyone safe, as if saving them could somehow make amends for the past she can't change. The interplay between time and memory doesn't just deepen the characters' arcs, it adds layers of complexity to the story itself. The narrative shifts seamlessly between past and present, creating a mosaic of moments that enrich the emotional impact of the tale. These flashes of memory serve as a reminder that even in the face of annihilation, the human experience is rooted in the stories we carry with us. As the story unfolds, the theme of sacrifice takes center stage, emerging as a natural extension of the characters' struggles with time and memory. Decisions made in the present are often informed by the weight of the past, and the sacrifices they're forced to make are as much about preserving their humanity as they are about survival. These choices, fraught with moral complexity, push the narrative into uncharted territory, where the lines between heroism and desperation blur. The interplay between these themes, time, memory, and sacrifice, creates a rich tapestry of emotion and tension, drawing the audience deeper into the story. Each character's journey is a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, even in the face of unimaginable loss. As we move forward, the story continues to explore the profound impact of these elements, challenging us to consider what it truly means to survive. The theme of sacrifice in The Last Survivors of Earth is a harrowing exploration of what it means to survive in a world stripped of its former self. Each character's choices are steeped in moral complexity, forcing them to confront the very essence of their humanity. These moments of sacrifice are not just plot points, they are crucibles that forge their identities, revealing both their strengths and their vulnerabilities. Marcus's decision to stay behind and hold off an approaching threat while the others escape is one such moment. It's a choice that comes at the cost of his own life, yet it's driven by a deep sense of responsibility. The weight of this sacrifice is amplified by the memory of his daughter, a reminder of what he's fighting to protect. It's a poignant testament to the lengths one will go to safeguard others, even when it means giving up everything. Priya's sacrifices, meanwhile, are more internal but no less profound. Her willingness to relinquish her leadership role in favor of someone she believes is better suited for the task is a quiet act of selflessness. This decision, born out of her own insecurities and past regrets, underscores the theme of redemption and the quiet heroism that often goes unnoticed. Then there's Jax, whose sacrifices are tinged with moral ambiguity. His decision to barter with a rival group for essential supplies, knowing it could put his own people at risk, raises questions about the ethics of survival. Is it justifiable to compromise one's principles if it means saving lives? These moments of conflict and compromise highlight the gray areas of morality in a world where the rules have been rewritten by desperation. The audiobook's portrayal of sacrifice is further heightened by its use of suspense and surprise. Moments of tension are masterfully crafted, keeping listeners on the edge of their seats as characters face impossible choices. The narrative doesn't shy away from the emotional fallout of these decisions, delving into the guilt, grief, and resilience that follow. For instance, a sudden twist in the story forces the group to abandon one of their own in a life or death scenario. The immediacy of the situation, combined with the emotional weight of the decision, creates a visceral sense of suspense. It's a stark reminder that in this new world, even the most well-intentioned choices can have devastating consequences. These elements of suspense and sacrifice work in tandem to drive the narrative forward, creating a story that is as emotionally resonant as it is gripping. The characters' journeys are defined by these moments of loss and resilience, painting a vivid picture of the cost of survival in a world that has lost its moorings. As the story unfolds, the theme of sacrifice continues to evolve, challenging both the characters and the audience to consider what they would be willing to give up in the face of annihilation. It's a question that lingers long after the final chapter, a testament to the enduring power of this deeply human tale. One of the most compelling aspects of The Last Survivors of Earth lies in its masterful use of suspense and surprise, weaving a narrative tapestry that keeps listeners perpetually on edge. The story's unpredictability is its lifeblood, ensuring that no moment feels safe or predictable. This is achieved through a combination of carefully timed revelations, shifting alliances, and the constant shadow of the unknown. Take, for instance, a pivotal moment in the story where the group uncovers an abandoned research facility. What initially seems like a stroke of luck, a potential treasure trove of supplies and information, quickly turns into a nightmare. The facility holds not only the remnants of humanity's efforts to survive, but also the horrifying consequences of those efforts. This revelation isn't just a shock, it's a turning point that redefines the stakes. The audiobook's ability to blend hope with dread creates a tension that's palpable, keeping listeners hooked as they question what's truly lurking in the shadows. The portrayal of the unknown is another critical element in maintaining suspense. The story doesn't rely on cheap scares or overt threats. Instead, it builds tension through what isn't shown or explained. The characters' encounters with strange, unidentifiable phenomena, a distant, unearthly light in the sky, or the faint sound of something moving just out of sight, are far more unsettling than any direct confrontation. This approach taps into a primal fear of what we can't understand or control, making the narrative feel both eerie and immersive. The audiobook's pacing also plays a significant role in its success. Moments of calm are often followed by sudden, jarring developments, creating a rhythm that keeps listeners off balance. For example, a seemingly peaceful night under the stars is shattered by the arrival of an unexpected visitor, a figure from the character's past who brings with them information that changes everything. These twists are never gratuitous. They serve to deepen the plot and challenge the characters in new ways, ensuring that the story remains dynamic and engaging. Another layer of suspense is added through the characters' own internal conflicts. As they grapple with their fears, doubts, and moral dilemmas, their decisions often lead to unintended consequences. A seemingly small choice, like taking a different route to avoid danger, can spiral into a life or death situation. This unpredictability mirrors the chaos of their world, reminding listeners that in this reality, there are no guarantees, only the constant threat of the unknown. The audiobook's ability to surprise isn't just about shock value, it's about keeping the narrative fresh and compelling. Each twist feels earned, rooted in the story's internal logic and the character's development. This balance of unpredictability and coherence is what makes the tale so gripping, inviting listeners to stay invested as they piece together the mysteries of this hauntingly familiar yet alien world. The unknown in The Last Survivors of Earth isn't just a backdrop, it's a force that shapes every moment of the story, a source of terror that's as vast and unfathomable as the cosmos itself. The fear of what lies beyond human understanding is woven into the narrative's DNA, creating an atmosphere that's as chilling as it is immersive. This isn't the kind of fear that comes from a jump scare or a loud noise. It's the kind that creeps into your mind, lingering long after the story ends. The alien entities that lurk in the shadows of this universe are unlike anything humanity has ever encountered. They don't fit into familiar categories or follow recognizable patterns. They exist outside the bounds of human comprehension. Imagine standing face to face with something that defies all logic, something that seems to shift and change the longer you look at it. That's the kind of terror the story evokes. These beings aren't just physically threatening, they are psychologically destabilizing, forcing the characters to confront the limits of their own understanding. Cosmic phenomena play a similar role, amplifying the sense of dread with their sheer scale and mystery. The story often features strange, unexplained events, like a sudden shift in the stars or a distant, echoing sound that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. These occurrences aren't just eerie, they are a reminder of how small and insignificant humanity is in the grand scheme of the universe. They tap into a primal fear of the incomprehensible, a fear that's as old as humanity itself. One of the most effective ways the story uses the unknown is through its restraint. The alien entities and cosmic phenomena are rarely fully explained or directly described. Instead, the narrative leaves much to the imagination, allowing listeners to fill in the blanks with their own fears. This approach is far more unsettling than any detailed description could be. It's the difference between seeing a monster in full light and catching a glimpse of something in the shadows. The latter is always more terrifying because it leaves room for doubt and speculation. This fear of the unknown is also reflected in the characters' reactions. They're scientists, explorers, and survivors, people who are used to seeking answers and solving problems. But in this story, they're constantly confronted with questions that have no answers, situations that defy explanation. This tension between their desire to understand and the impossibility of doing so adds another layer of dread to the narrative. It's a reminder that some things are simply beyond human comprehension, and that realization can be more terrifying than any physical threat. The story's use of the unknown isn't just about creating fear, it's about exploring a universal human experience. It's about the discomfort we feel when faced with something we can't explain, the unease that comes from realizing how little we truly know about the world. By tapping into this primal fear, The Last Survivors of Earth creates a chilling atmosphere that's as thought-provoking as it is terrifying. As we shift our focus to the role of resilience in the narrative, it's worth noting how the unknown serves as a crucible for the characters' strength and determination. Faced with the incomprehensible, they must find ways to endure, adapt, and survive. This interplay between fear and resilience is what makes the story so compelling, offering a glimpse of humanity's capacity to persevere even in the face of the unimaginable. Resilience in The Last Survivors of Earth isn't just about physical endurance, it's a profound exploration of the human spirit's capacity to persevere in the face of unimaginable adversity. The characters are thrust into a world where survival isn't a given, where every moment is a fight against the unknown, and yet they find ways to keep going. Their resilience is both inspiring and heartbreaking, a reminder of the strength we're capable of when pushed to our limits. Take, for example, the character of Dr. Elena Vance, a scientist who's lost everything: her family, her home, even the world she once knew. Despite the overwhelming grief and despair, she channels her pain into a relentless pursuit of answers. Her determination isn't just about survival, it's about finding meaning in the chaos. She becomes a symbol of hope for the other survivors, someone who refuses to let the darkness consume her. Her journey is a testament to the idea that resilience isn't about never falling, it's about finding the strength to get back up, no matter how many times you're knocked down. Another striking example is Marcus Kane, a former soldier turned reluctant leader. Marcus is a man who's seen too much, who's haunted by the choices he's had to make. Yet he steps up when needed, guiding the group through one perilous situation after another. His leadership isn't born out of a desire for power or recognition, but out of a deep sense of responsibility. He's the glue that holds the group together, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. Marcus's story highlights the importance of adaptability, of finding new ways to lead and inspire when the old rules no longer apply. The audiobook also delves into the collective resilience of the group as a whole. In a world where trust is a scarce resource, the survivors learn to rely on each other, to build connections that give them the strength to keep going. Their resilience isn't just individual, it's communal, a shared determination to endure no matter the cost. This sense of unity is what makes their journey so compelling. It's a reminder that we're stronger together than we are alone. But resilience in this story isn't portrayed as a straightforward, triumphant journey. It's messy and painful, marked by moments of doubt and despair. The characters don't always succeed. Sometimes they fail spectacularly, yet it's their willingness to keep trying, to keep fighting, that makes their resilience so impactful. This theme isn't just about survival, it's about the human capacity to find hope in the darkest of places, to keep moving forward even when the path ahead is uncertain. As we reflect on the role of resilience in the narrative, it's impossible to ignore the inevitable losses that come with such a struggle. The audiobook doesn't shy away from depicting the harsh realities of survival, reminding us that resilience often comes at a great cost. These moments of loss are as integral to the story as the moments of triumph, grounding the characters' resilience in a reality that's both heartbreaking and deeply human. Loss in The Last Survivors of Earth isn't just a backdrop, it's a driving force that shapes every decision, every moment of grief, and every flicker of resilience. The characters are confronted with the harsh reality that survival often comes at a steep price, and that price is paid in the currency of loss. Whether it's the death of a loved one, the collapse of a familiar world, or the erosion of their own sense of identity, loss becomes a constant companion on their journey. Take, for instance, the character of Sarah, a young woman who loses her brother in the early days of the catastrophe. His death isn't just a personal tragedy, it's a turning point that forces her to confront the fragility of life and the weight of her own decisions. Her grief becomes a lens through which she views the world, shaping her actions and interactions with the other survivors. Sarah's story is a poignant reminder that loss isn't just about what's taken away, it's about what remains and how we choose to carry it forward. The audiobook doesn't shy away from the emotional toll of loss, portraying it with raw honesty and depth. Each character's experience of grief is unique, reflecting their personality and circumstances. For Dr. Elena Vance, loss is a catalyst for her relentless pursuit of answers, a way to channel her pain into something productive. For Marcus Kane, it's a burden that he carries silently, his grief manifesting in moments of quiet introspection and unspoken regret. These nuanced portrayals make the characters feel real and relatable, grounding their struggles in emotions that resonate deeply with the audience. But loss isn't just a personal experience, it's also a collective one. The survivors grapple with the loss of their world, a shared trauma that binds them together even as it threatens to tear them apart. The destruction of Earth isn't just a backdrop for the story, it's a source of collective grief that shapes their relationships and decisions. This shared loss creates a sense of solidarity among the group, a fragile yet powerful connection that helps them navigate the challenges of their new reality. The impact of loss extends beyond the emotional, influencing the characters' actions and the direction of the narrative. It's a reminder of the stakes, a constant undercurrent that keeps the tension alive. Every decision, every sacrifice is informed by the weight of what's been lost and the fear of losing more. This makes the story not just a tale of survival, but a meditation on the cost of endurance and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable grief. Through its portrayal of loss, the audiobook invites listeners to reflect on their own experiences of grief and resilience. It's a reminder that loss is an inevitable part of life, but it's also something that can shape us in profound ways. The character's journey through loss is a testament to the idea that while grief may change us, it doesn't have to define us. It's a powerful theme that adds emotional depth and relatability to the narrative, making The Last Survivors of Earth not just a story of survival, but a story of what it means to be human. As we move forward, we'll explore the delicate balance between hope and despair, and how the characters navigate the thin line between the two. This interplay of emotions is what gives the story its heart, making it a journey that's as much about the inner struggles of the characters as it is about their external battles. Hope and despair are two sides of the same coin in The Last Survivors of Earth, and their interplay creates a narrative tension that keeps listeners on the edge of their seats. The story doesn't just alternate between these emotions, it weaves them together in a way that feels organic and deeply human. This balance reflects the characters' inner struggles, their moments of triumph, and their inevitable setbacks, making their journey unpredictable and compelling. Early in the story, hope feels like a fragile but necessary lifeline. The survivors cling to the possibility of finding safety, of rebuilding something resembling a life. For Sarah, this hope is tied to her determination to honor her brother's memory by surviving against the odds. For Marcus, it's the faint belief that redemption might still be possible, even in a world that's falling apart. These glimmers of hope give the characters purpose, driving them forward even when the odds seem insurmountable. But hope is never far from despair, and the story doesn't shy away from the moments when that hope is tested. A failed mission, a betrayal, or the discovery of a new threat can shatter the fragile optimism the characters have built. Dr. Elena Vance, for instance, faces this tension head-on when her research into Earth's destruction leads to more questions than answers. Her scientific curiosity is a source of hope, but the grim realities she uncovers often push her toward despair. This emotional roller coaster mirrors the unpredictability of their circumstances, making their struggles all the more relatable. As the narrative progresses, the balance between hope and despair begins to shift. The characters' resilience is tested in ways that force them to confront their own limitations and fears. Yet, even in their darkest moments, there's a sense that hope isn't entirely lost. It might be smaller, quieter, but it's still there, a spark that refuses to be extinguished. This evolution is a testament to the story's exploration of the human condition, showing how hope can persist even in the face of overwhelming despair. The audiobook's use of foreshadowing adds another layer to this tension. Subtle hints and ominous details build anticipation, keeping listeners guessing about what's to come. A seemingly innocuous observation or a cryptic remark can take on new significance later in the story, adding depth and complexity to the narrative. This technique not only enhances the sense of unpredictability, but also reinforces the themes of hope and despair. When a moment of hope is shadowed by the possibility of tragedy, it heightens the emotional stakes, making the characters' victories feel earned and their losses all the more devastating. By balancing hope and despair so effectively, The Last Survivors of Earth becomes more than just a story of survival. It's a profound exploration of what it means to endure. The character's journey reminds us that hope isn't about denying despair, but about finding the strength to move forward despite it. This emotional depth is what makes the story resonate, keeping listeners invested in the character's fate and eager to see how their journey unfolds. Now, let's delve deeper into the audiobook's masterful use of foreshadowing, exploring how it enhances the narrative and keeps listeners engaged. Foreshadowing is one of the most powerful tools in storytelling, and The Last Survivors of Earth uses it with remarkable precision. The audiobook doesn't just rely on obvious hints or dramatic reveals, it embeds subtle clues throughout the narrative, creating a tapestry of anticipation that rewards attentive listeners. These moments of foreshadowing aren't just about setting up plot twists. They add layers of depth, enriching the story's themes and enhancing the emotional impact of key moments. One of the ways the narrative employs foreshadowing is through the environment. The desolate landscapes and eerie silences that the survivors traverse are more than just backdrops. They are harbingers of the challenges to come. Early in the story, Sarah notices strange distortions in the sky, a detail that seems insignificant at first, but later becomes crucial when the group uncovers the truth about Earth's fate. These environmental cues create a sense of unease, subtly preparing listeners for the revelations ahead without giving too much away. Another example lies in the dialogue. Conversations between characters often contain hints that take on new meaning as the story unfolds. For instance, Marcus's offhand remark about the cost of survival early in the audiobook becomes a recurring theme, echoing through his later struggles with guilt and moral dilemmas. These lines of dialogue aren't just filler, they're carefully crafted to deepen the narrative, adding weight to the characters' journeys and making their decisions feel more consequential. The audiobook also uses character actions to foreshadow future events. Dr. Alina raises meticulous note-taking, and her obsession with piecing together fragments of data might seem like mere personality traits at first. But as the story progresses, it becomes clear that her dedication is a reflection of the larger mystery they're all trying to solve. Her actions hint at the complexity of the challenges they'll face, building suspense and keeping listeners invested in the unfolding drama. Foreshadowing in The Last Survivors of Earth isn't just a narrative device, It's a way to engage the audience on a deeper level. By planting seeds of information throughout the story, the audiobook encourages listeners to actively piece together the clues, creating a sense of participation in the narrative. This technique not only enhances the storytelling, but also makes the eventual payoffs, whether they're moments of triumph or tragedy, feel more impactful. The artful use of foreshadowing also reinforces the story's themes of uncertainty and resilience. In a world where nothing is guaranteed, the subtle hints scattered throughout the narrative mirror the characters struggle to make sense of their reality. This approach keeps the story unpredictable, ensuring that even the most attentive listeners are surprised by the twists and turns. Moving forward, we'll explore how the portrayal of the survivors' goals shapes their journey. Each character's aspirations and motivations add another layer to the narrative, driving the plot forward while revealing the complexities of their personalities. The survivors in The Last Survivors of Earth aren't just united by their shared circumstances, they're also defined by their individual goals and motivations, which often clash in ways that drive the plot forward and add layers of tension to the narrative. These conflicting desires aren't just plot devices, they're a reflection of the complexity of human nature, making the characters feel real and relatable. Take Marcus, for example. A former engineer, his goal is to rebuild some semblance of the world they've lost. He's driven by a need to create, to restore order out of chaos. This desire often puts him at odds with Sarah, whose primary concern is survival. She's pragmatic, focused on immediate needs like finding food and shelter, and less interested in long-term projects that might not pay off. Their clashes aren't just about differing priorities, they're about fundamentally different ways of seeing the world. Then there's Dr. Elena Vance, whose motivations are rooted in knowledge and discovery. She's determined to uncover the truth about what happened to Earth, even if it means taking risks that others aren't willing to face. Her relentless curiosity sometimes alienates her from the group, especially when her experiments or theories lead to danger. Yet it's her dedication to understanding the past that often uncovers the clues they need to move forward. The youngest member of the group, Jamie, adds another dimension to the dynamic. Unlike the others, Jamie's goals are less about survival or rebuilding and more about finding a sense of belonging. Having lost everything at a young age, Jamie clings to the group as a surrogate family, often mediating conflicts and trying to keep the peace. This role makes Jamie a stabilizing force, but it also creates a vulnerability that the others must protect. These individual goals don't just create conflict, they also shape the story's trajectory in meaningful ways. Marcus's determination to rebuild leads the group to explore ruins and abandoned technologies, setting the stage for key discoveries. Sarah's focus on survival ensures they stay grounded, even when the temptation to take risks becomes overwhelming. Dr. Ray's quest for knowledge uncovers secrets that fundamentally alter their understanding of their situation, while Jamie's need for connection keeps the group from fracturing completely. The environment plays a crucial role in shaping these goals and the conflicts that arise from them. The barren, hazardous landscapes they navigate force the characters to confront their limits, pushing them to adapt and grow. The scarcity of resources amplifies their differences, turning minor disagreements into major disputes. At the same time, the harshness of their surroundings also highlights the importance of their unity, reminding them that survival depends on their ability to work together despite their differences. By weaving these individual goals into the fabric of the story, The Last Survivors of Earth creates a narrative that feels both cohesive and dynamic. Each character's motivations add depth to the plot, driving the action while also revealing the complexities of their personalities. This interplay between personal desires and external challenges not only keeps the story engaging, but also underscores its themes of resilience, adaptability, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. The hostile and unforgiving environment of space in The Last Survivors of Earth isn't just a backdrop, it's a character in its own right, shaping every aspect of the story and the lives of those who inhabit it. This vast, desolate expanse is more than an empty void. It's a relentless force that tests the limits of human endurance, pushing the characters to confront their deepest fears and desires. Imagine being stranded in a world where the air you breathe is a scarce resource, where every step could mean the difference between life and death. The environment doesn't just challenge the characters, it defines their existence. The cold, unyielding vacuum of space is a constant reminder of their vulnerability, forcing them to adapt in ways they never imagined. For Marcus, it means devising ingenious solutions to keep life support systems functioning. For Sarah, it's about mastering the art of rationing what little they have. Each decision they make is shaped by the harsh reality of their surroundings, creating a sense of urgency that keeps the story gripping and intense. The environment also serves as a crucible for the characters' relationships, amplifying both their strengths and their flaws. In such extreme conditions, trust becomes a fragile commodity. The group's survival depends on their ability to work together, yet the stress of their situation often leads to tension and conflict. Marcus and Sarah's differing priorities, for instance, are magnified under the weight of their circumstances, turning minor disagreements into existential debates. At the same time, the shared struggle fosters a sense of camaraderie that binds them together, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Space's unforgiving nature also brings out the rawest aspects of human behavior. Dr. Reyes' relentless pursuit of knowledge, for example, takes on a new dimension when the risks are so high. Her experiments and theories could either save them or doom them, adding a layer of moral complexity to her actions. Jamie's role as the group's emotional anchor becomes even more critical in this context, as the others rely on their ability to mediate and bring a sense of normalcy to their chaotic lives. This environment doesn't just influence the characters, it drives the narrative forward. Each discovery, each setback, is tied to the challenges of surviving in such a hostile world. The ruins they explore, the technologies they uncover, are all shaped by the same forces that threaten their existence. The environment becomes a tangible antagonist, one that can't be reasoned with or defeated, only endured. This constant tension keeps the story unpredictable and engaging, forcing the characters to evolve in ways that feel both natural and compelling. Through it all, the environment serves as a powerful metaphor for the resilience of the human spirit. Despite the overwhelming odds, the characters refuse to give up, finding strength in each other and in their determination to survive. It's a testament to the enduring power of hope, even in the face of unimaginable adversity. By making the environment a central character, The Last Survivors of Earth creates a narrative that is as much about the human condition as it is about survival in the cosmos. As we move forward, we'll delve into the audiobook's exploration of human nature, examining how the characters' experiences in this hostile environment reveal deeper truths about who they are and what it means to be human. In The Last Survivors of Earth, the extreme pressures of survival strip away the veneer of civilization, revealing the raw, unvarnished essence of human nature. the narrative doesn't shy away from delving into the darker aspects of behavior, showing how stress and desperation can transform even the most well-intentioned individuals. This exploration of morality, loyalty, and self-preservation is both thought-provoking and unsettling, offering a mirror to our own potential for both greatness and moral compromise. Take Marcus, for example. A natural leader, his primary concern is the survival of the group. Yet, as resources dwindle and the stakes rise, his decisions become increasingly ruthless. He's forced to weigh the greater good against individual lives, a moral dilemma that exposes the fragile line between pragmatism and cruelty. His transformation highlights how even the most capable among us can be pushed to the brink when faced with impossible choices. Sarah, on the other hand, represents the struggle to maintain humanity in the face of overwhelming odds. Her compassion and empathy become both her greatest strength and her most significant vulnerability. While her desire to help others keeps the group grounded, it also puts her at odds with Marcus's more utilitarian approach. This tension between idealism and pragmatism is a recurring theme, forcing the characters and the audience to confront uncomfortable questions about what it means to do the right thing. Dr. Reyes' character adds another layer to this exploration of human nature. Her relentless pursuit of knowledge and discovery often blinds her to the immediate needs of the group. While her work could potentially save them all, it also risks alienating those who see her as prioritizing science over survival. Her journey raises questions about the cost of ambition and the ethical boundaries of progress, especially in a life-or-death scenario. Jamie, the group's emotional anchor, embodies the importance of stability and connection in the face of chaos. Their role as a mediator is crucial, yet even they are not immune to the pressures of their environment. Their struggle to maintain peace within the group while grappling with their own fears and insecurities adds depth to the narrative, showing how vulnerability can coexist with strength. The narrative also explores the role of teamwork and conflict in shaping human behavior. In such extreme conditions, cooperation is essential, yet the stress of their situation often leads to mistrust and division. The group's dynamics are a microcosm of broader societal issues, highlighting how quickly alliances can shift when survival is at stake. These moments of conflict are not just plot devices, they are windows into the characters' psyches, revealing their fears, ambitions, and moral boundaries. What makes The Last Survivors of Earth so compelling is its refusal to offer easy answers. The characters' actions are neither wholly heroic nor entirely villainous. They're human, shaped by circumstances that test their limits. This nuanced portrayal challenges the audience to consider how they might act in similar situations, making the story not just a tale of survival, but a profound exploration of what it means to be human. As we continue, we'll examine the larger themes of hope and resilience in the face of insurmountable odds, and how these elements shape the story's message about the enduring strength of the human spirit. In The Last Survivors of Earth, the survival of the group hinges not just on their ability to navigate the physical dangers of their environment, but also on their capacity to work together amidst growing tensions. The story masterfully illustrates how cooperation and conflict intertwine, creating a volatile yet deeply compelling dynamic. This interplay is not just a backdrop, it's central to the narrative, driving both the plot and the emotional arcs of the characters. One of the most striking aspects of their teamwork is how it evolves under pressure. Early on, the group's shared goal of survival fosters a sense of unity, with each member contributing their unique skills. Marcus's leadership, Sarah's compassion, Dr. Reyes' ingenuity, and Jamie's ability to mediate create a fragile but functional balance. However, as the challenges mount, cracks begin to form. Scarce resources, the constant threat of danger, and the weight of their uncertain future strain their relationships, exposing deep-seated fears and conflicting priorities. For instance, when the group faces a critical decision about rationing food, Marcus's pragmatic approach clashes with Sarah's insistence on fairness. This confrontation is more than just a disagreement, it's a microcosm of the larger struggle between survival and humanity. Marcus argues that sacrifices must be made for the greater good, while Sarah counters that abandoning their moral compass will only lead to further disintegration. This tension forces the group and the audience to grapple with the ethical complexities of their situation. Dr. Reyes' relentless focus on her scientific pursuits adds another layer of conflict. While her experiments could potentially unlock a way to sustain their dwindling resources, her single-mindedness alienates others who feel their immediate needs are being ignored. This raises questions about the cost of progress and the balance between long-term solutions and short-term survival. Jamie's role as the emotional glue of the group becomes increasingly vital as these conflicts escalate. Their ability to mediate and find common ground is tested time and again, particularly when divisions threaten to splinter the group entirely. Jamie's struggle to maintain harmony while dealing with their own fears adds a poignant layer to the narrative, showcasing the human cost of leadership and the burden of being the peacemaker. These conflicts are not just obstacles, they are opportunities for growth and transformation. Each confrontation forces the characters to confront their own limitations and reevaluate their priorities. Marcus's harsh decisions begin to weigh on him, revealing a vulnerability beneath his stoic exterior. Sarah's idealism is tempered by the harsh realities of their situation, while Dr. Reyes starts to recognize the importance of balancing her ambitions with the needs of the group. The story's portrayal of teamwork and conflict resonates deeply because it mirrors real-life struggles. In desperate times, the challenge of maintaining unity while addressing individual needs becomes a universal theme. It's a reminder that survival isn't just about physical endurance, it's also about navigating the complexities of human relationships. As we move forward, the narrative shifts its focus to the unknown future, exploring how the characters confront the uncertainty of what lies ahead. This theme adds another layer of tension, as the group must not only survive the present but also grapple with the possibilities and dangers of the days to come. The unknown future looms over the last survivors of Earth like a shadow, casting uncertainty over every decision the characters make. This deliberate ambiguity is not just a narrative device, it's a reflection of the story's core themes: survival, fear, and the fragility of hope. The survivor's journey is marked by a relentless tension between what they know and what they can't predict, a dynamic that keeps listeners on edge and deeply invested in the outcome. One of the most compelling aspects of this uncertainty is how it shapes the characters' actions and relationships. Without a clear end goal or destination, every choice becomes fraught with risk. Marcus, the group's leader, is forced to make decisions based on instinct rather than strategy, a shift that exposes his vulnerabilities and challenges his authority. Sarah's optimism is tested as she grapples with the possibility that their efforts may never lead to safety or stability. Dr. Reyes' scientific pursuits, once driven by a sense of purpose, begin to feel increasingly futile in the face of an unpredictable world. And Jamie, the mediator, struggles to keep the group together when the future offers no guarantee of survival. This narrative choice also amplifies the story's sense of dread. The unknown is a far more potent source of fear than any tangible threat. It's the uncertainty of what lies ahead, whether it's another hostile environment, a dwindling supply of resources, or the possibility of never finding refuge, that keeps the characters and the audience in a constant state of unease. This tension is a hallmark of the sci-fi horror genre, and The Last Survivors of Earth uses it to full effect. The ambiguity of the ending is particularly impactful. Rather than providing a neat resolution, the story leaves the survivors' fate open to interpretation. This decision invites listeners to reflect on the themes of the narrative long after the final chapter. It's a reminder that in the face of overwhelming odds, the journey itself is as important as the destination. The survivors' struggle is not just about reaching safety, it's about how they navigate the unknown, how they cope with fear, and how they find moments of humanity in the midst of despair. This open-ended conclusion also underscores the story's exploration of resilience and adaptability. In a world where the future is uncertain, the ability to adapt becomes the ultimate survival skill. The characters are constantly forced to reevaluate their priorities, confront their fears, and find new ways to persevere. This theme resonates deeply, offering a poignant commentary on the human condition and our collective ability to endure in the face of adversity. As we shift our focus to the audiobook's legacy and impact, it's clear that The Last Survivors of Earth has left an indelible mark on the genre. Its masterful blend of sci-fi and horror, its richly drawn characters, and its exploration of universal themes have made it a standout work that continues to captivate audiences. The story's emphasis on the unknown future not only enhances its narrative tension, but also elevates it to a thought-provoking meditation on survival, fear, and the enduring power of hope. The Last Survivors of Earth has cemented itself as a significant work within the sci-fi horror genre, leaving a legacy that extends far beyond its final chapter. The audiobook's ability to weave together tension, emotion, and profound themes has captivated listeners, sparking conversations about survival, fear, and the essence of humanity. Its influence is not just limited to its narrative brilliance, but also its ability to push the boundaries of what sci-fi horror can achieve. One of the most remarkable aspects of the audiobook's impact is its exploration of survival in its rawest form. Unlike many stories in the genre that focus on external threats, this tale delves deeply into the psychological and emotional toll of surviving in an unforgiving world. The characters' struggles feel authentic, their decisions weighed down by the gravity of their circumstances. This authenticity has resonated with listeners, many of whom have found parallels in their own lives, whether it's navigating personal challenges or confronting societal uncertainties. The story's emphasis on resilience and adaptability has inspired audiences to reflect on their own capacity to endure and persevere. Another area where the audiobook has made waves is its treatment of fear. Rather than relying on jump scares or graphic imagery, it taps into a more primal, lingering kind of terror, the fear of the unknown. This approach has redefined expectations within the genre, proving that horror doesn't need to be overt to be effective. By focusing on the psychological impact of uncertainty, the story has set a new standard for sci-fi horror, encouraging creators to explore more nuanced and thought-provoking ways to unsettle their audiences. The audiobook's exploration of humanity in the face of despair has also left a lasting impression. Through its diverse cast of characters, it examines how people respond to extreme adversity, some with resilience, others with desperation, and others still with unexpected kindness. These moments of humanity, often fleeting but deeply moving, remind listeners of the strength of the human spirit even in the darkest of times. This theme has sparked discussions about empathy, community, and the choices we make when faced with impossible odds. In terms of its influence on the genre, The Last Survivors of Earth has inspired a wave of creators to push beyond traditional tropes and explore more complex, character-driven narratives. Its success has shown that audiences crave stories that challenge them intellectually and emotionally, blending the speculative elements of sci-fi with the visceral impact of horror. The audiobook's popularity has also highlighted the potential of audio storytelling as a medium, with its immersive sound design and narration adding layers of depth to the narrative. Perhaps the most enduring lesson from this tale is the importance of adaptability in the face of uncertainty. The survivor's journey is a testament to the idea that resilience isn't just about physical strength, it's about the ability to adapt, to find hope when it seems lost, and to keep moving forward even when the path ahead is unclear. This message has struck a chord with listeners, offering a sense of solace and inspiration in an increasingly unpredictable world. As we reflect on the legacy of The Last Survivors of Earth, it's clear that its impact extends far beyond its genre. It's a story that challenges, inspires, and provokes thought, leaving listeners with a deeper understanding of what it means to survive, to fear, and to remain human in the face of the unknown. Its lessons continue to resonate, making it a timeless addition to the world of sci-fi horror and a testament to the enduring power of storytelling. The audiobook, The Last Survivors of Earth, is more than just a tale of survival. It's a profound exploration of resilience, morality, and the essence of what it means to be human. Through the trials and tribulations of its characters, the story offers insights that resonate deeply, urging us to reflect on our own capacity to endure and the choices we might make in the face of unimaginable challenges. At its core, the story is a testament to the power of resilience. The survivor's journey is marked by moments of despair, fear, and loss, yet they continue to push forward, driven by a flicker of hope that refuses to be extinguished. This resilience isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional, a quiet determination to adapt and persist even when the odds seem insurmountable. It's a lesson that speaks to our own lives, reminding us that resilience isn't about never falling, but about finding the strength to rise each time we do. Morality is another central theme that the story deftly explores. In a world stripped of societal norms and infrastructure, the characters are forced to confront difficult ethical dilemmas. Should they prioritize their own survival or risk everything to help others? Are some actions justified in extreme circumstances, or do certain lines simply cannot be crossed? These questions linger long after the story ends, challenging us to consider how we would navigate such moral gray areas. The audiobook doesn't provide easy answers. Instead, it invites us to wrestle with these complexities, sparking conversations about the nature of right and wrong. Perhaps the most poignant takeaway is the exploration of the human condition. In the face of despair, the survivors cling to fragments of their humanity, acts of kindness, fleeting moments of connection, and the shared understanding that they are not alone in their suffering. These moments, though small, are powerful reminders of the enduring strength of the human spirit. They highlight the importance of empathy and community, showing that even in the darkest times, we are capable of extraordinary compassion and courage. The lessons from The Last Survivors of Earth are as relevant today as they are in the story's futuristic setting. In a world increasingly marked by uncertainty and rapid change, The themes of resilience, morality, and humanity offer a lens through which we can examine our own lives. How do we respond to adversity? What principles guide our decisions? And in moments of crisis, how do we hold onto our humanity? As we conclude our exploration of this gripping narrative, it's clear that The Last Survivors of Earth is more than just a story. It's a mirror reflecting our deepest fears, our greatest strengths, and the timeless questions that define us. Its legacy lies not only in its ability to entertain, but in its power to provoke thought and inspire reflection, leaving listeners with a renewed sense of purpose and perspective. The Last Survivors of Earth stands as a masterful fusion of science fiction and horror, weaving a narrative that is as thought-provoking as it is terrifying. Its chilling atmosphere pulls listeners into a world where the unknown looms large, and the struggle for survival is both physical and psychological. What makes this audiobook truly remarkable is its ability to balance the genre's signature thrills with profound themes that linger long after the final chapter. At its heart, the story is a testament to the power of storytelling itself. The characters are crafted with such depth and complexity that they feel like real people grappling with extraordinary circumstances. Their fears, hopes, and moral dilemmas resonate deeply, reminding us of our own vulnerabilities and strengths. It's in these moments of human connection that the audiobook transcends its genre, offering insights that are as relevant to our lives as they are to the fictional world it portrays. One of the most striking aspects of the narrative is its exploration of the unknown. The vast, unforgiving cosmos serves as both a backdrop and a character in its own right, symbolizing the uncertainties we all face. Whether it's the eerie silence of space or the lurking dangers on alien worlds, the story taps into primal fears while challenging us to confront them. This duality of fear and curiosity drives the narrative forward, creating a tension that keeps listeners on the edge of their seats. Yet, The Last Survivors of Earth is more than just a spine-tingling tale. It's a mirror held up to our own world, reflecting themes of resilience, morality, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. The survivor's journey is a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, there is always a glimmer of hope, a reason to keep going. Their struggles and triumphs inspire us to reflect on our own lives, encouraging us to find meaning and purpose in our challenges. As we conclude this exploration of the audiobook, it's worth considering how its lessons apply to our own lives. In a world that often feels as uncertain and perilous as the one depicted in the story, we are reminded of the importance of empathy, courage, and community. These themes resonate beyond the confines of fiction, offering a blueprint for navigating the complexities of our own existence. Thank you for joining me on this journey through The Last Survivors of Earth. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement not only supports this channel, but also fuels the exploration of more incredible stories. Until next time, keep delving into the cosmos of storytelling, where every tale offers a new perspective and a chance to discover something extraordinary.